Welcome to the Office 365 Pulse. We have Tom and myself here today. Tamara is going to be joining us in just a minute. So we have about 55 updates today. So we're going to be rolling through them. We'll probably hit the highlights, try to go through a lot of them. We told you it would probably be getting a larger list between now and Ignite. So
And we did.
Yes, and it proved to be true. So we'll go through the updates here. Tom, I'm going to let you go ahead and kick us off and get started. So this is the in development category. That means Microsoft is in the castle building out these features, Tom. So what is on your list of exciting things? There's a lot of things in like joint categories, so the list might go pretty quickly because we can lump a few things together. But what are you excited about, sir?
So I'm going to hit three of them here. I think I'm going to hit three of them here. First of all, Outlook, simplified and classic ribbons. So Outlook on the web has always had kind of its own navigation setup that doesn't really come close to what Outlook client does. They're now kind of fixing that. So Outlook on the web will be adding support for two new ribbon types, simplified and classic. These ribbons are modeled after the classic Outlook for Windows simplified and classic ribbons to provide a more familiar experience across apps. I think a combination of this, along with the fact that they're moving some of the different things like discard and compose and things like that to more standard locations, is going to bring the whole web experience versus the client experience to be a lot closer, which I think is a very positive thing.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're using the SharePoint server migration tool, there's now going to be an assessment that you can run. So before you move any list or site from SharePoint Server on-prem to Microsoft 365, it's best practice to assess content and plan for the migration. The SharePoint migration tool SPMT, gosh, it's going to be a long day here, will provide content assessment so cloud admins can best understand what content they have, decide what to migrate and what to remediate. In this update, the migration tool supports SharePoint Server Migration Assessment for versions 2010, 2013, 2016, and 2019. That you should be seeing in December, and that's going out pretty much to everybody, GCC, GCC High, DoD, and worldwide. And then one other one, SharePoint, create pages and news from the SharePoint app bar. So you'll be able to start creating pages and news as action from within the SharePoint app bar. This means no matter where you are in SharePoint, you can jump right into the content creation process and stay in the flow of work. I think that'll be nice. It'll just make it easier for people to see that, oh, I can create a new page from here, click it and start the page creation. That's going to be going to worldwide and should be appearing in January.
That's actually a really good one because I think it's in the flow of work. Like when I'm on a page and I'm like, oh, I should share something about this or I should create something. I don't really want to have to go back and find a new spot to do it. But then if I'm creating an actual news item, you know, it's going to get put in the right spot where it's supposed to live. So I think that's a really good, just a flow of work thing. So I'm excited about that one.
Liking that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, go ahead, and what do you have on your agenda for discussion?
Well, one of the ones or things that I think is interesting is the automate your task in Excel for Windows and for Mac. And so this is an update that it already exists in Excel for the web, but now it's going to be coming down to the client. And it's an update that is going to allow you to create, edit, and run Office scripts in Excel for Windows using the code editor and the scripts task pane. So it's going to be able to let you automate some scripts and some tasks that you're doing there. So that's definitely a more advanced Excel feature and might not apply to all users, but it's a good feature if it was one that you're using. And then Microsoft Viva, the digest email from Viva will include a summary of meeting category insights for users with the Insight subscription, highlighting up to 3 categories in which users spend the most time over the last 4 weeks. So your meeting category. So if you're using the meeting category thing, you'll start to see what types of meetings you're in. And then the other one I liked was meetings for Teams detailed call history. So get more comprehensive view on whether your calls were transferred, forwarded, how group calls arrived, and how they were controlled want to receive. So just more information there. And then also, I guess some of the other ones I can do some more teams because I'm there. And then also that will help us roll into the rolling out. So Tamara can then just jump in with us and not have to go, what did they talk about?
Can I talk about this? Nope. Can you talk about that? Nope.
We'll save you from that, Tamara, but welcome.
Thank you.
So Teams transcription calls for Microsoft Teams for Android. So that's transcriptions for one-on-one calls and group calls will be available on the Teams app for Android. That is coming, and that is coming to GCC worldwide in development for October. And then Microsoft Teams, choose your spoken language for captions and transcriptions for Microsoft Teams on Android. So a couple of things coming there to Teams. And I think the last, I'm going to pause and let you hit them up, Tom, because I've been talking a lot and put you on the spot. Why don't you go through at least a high level, if you can, the PureView stuff that's coming out, or at least we can just hit that there's a bunch of stuff coming or in development for PureView. That might be the way to hit it.
I'll just go ahead and throw out the titles. So if any of these titles interest you, definitely check out the roadmap because a lot of these are coming out in December through March of next year. And they're mostly coming out to worldwide. So if you're in the GCC high DoD environments, these may not come into play for you right now. But endpoint DLP, sanctioned and unsanctioned site groups for different sensitive files, endpoint DLP authorized USB devices, endpoint DLP authorized network share paths, and endpoint DLP network location as a condition in DLP policy. We also have in Microsoft Purview data lifecycle management simulation mode for automatically applied retention labels, and coming to the very bottom, Purview data loss prevention, self-diagnostic tool for SPODB, test DLP policies. So this is apparently policies for SharePoint Online and OneDrive for Business. And again, most of those are December through March, and they're all basically worldwide. So again, don't look for it in the more secure tenants yet.
Awesome. Cool. Well, then let's roll to rolling out. And Tamara, do you want to kick us off with your? Sure. I'm like making all these like rolling and kicking references, so I'm on a roll. Okay. All right. I'm like dad joke of the day. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. I gotta stop. All right. Go ahead.
All right. Tamara. Something that has me very excited is Microsoft Planner recurring tasks.
Yay.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. Granted, we had the copy task and we could do that, but now that we can just set up a recurring task, that's awesome. Going to be great for like weekly reports, having to post stuff. I mean,
since really I know excited. How many recurring tasks you do, that is going to be fantastic for you.
I have a cadence.
You do.
I need help with my cadence.
And how you can forget your cadence, though, I don't know, because it is like a cadence.
It is. And then Microsoft Teams, choose preferred download location for files. I am so happy about this because it'll download and I'll be like, where is it? Where is it? Can't find it. Can't see it. And now I can pick where I want it to be. So I'm very excited about that.
What's nice about that one too is that not only can you say, I want team files to download to a different location than just the /downloads folder, but you can also set it to ask you for each file individually. So you've kind of got, here's the default, but I also want to be able to override the default for each file. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I have one, y'all, and that is suggested replies in group chat. I cannot tell you guys how much I love the suggested replies, the suggested, like, they're showing up everywhere now and they are actually helpful.
Yes.
Like, it's learning me, it's learning how I talk, it's writing documents for me, it's good, it knows what I'm gonna say, and it's like saying it, and I'm like, oh yeah, tab, all right, we got this, let's go. It's actually making my life easier without me even realizing it. It's just naturally happening. And I'm like, whoa, it just can, well, that was helpful. It knew what I wanted to say. I realized that yesterday when I was writing out an email, and then I accidentally hit the key and made my auto suggestion go away. And I was like, oh, but that was perfect. And then I had to write it. So that's when I realized,
2 words.
yeah, that's when I realized that this was actually saving me, not even saving me time. It might save me fractions of a second multiple times a day. So it may be saving minutes, but it's just a very nice delighter, and one that if it went away, I would really start to be annoyed. So I'm kind of happy. Like put auto suggestions anywhere you want to, Microsoft. They're my friend. Put them anywhere. So that one's coming. I was excited about that one. So sorry, Tom, I jumped in front of you, but I saw it. I saw my chance and wanted to take it.
That was fine. I've got a couple that I'll mention here. One which has shown up in our tenant over the last couple of weeks, which is kind of nice once you understand what's going on, and that is the Microsoft Teams usability improvements to in-meeting notifications. So your in-meeting notifications, you had banners across the top, you had things down in the lower left corner, they were popping up all over the place. Well, now what's happening is all these notifications are appearing in the top center of your screen. And so, recording has started, recording has ended. Hey, you can go find out who's done this. Hey, here's a chat, blah, blah, blah. It's all in one location, and you can just click and close them from there. Now, if you don't close them soon enough, pretty soon you may have 14 messages all queued up there, and you can't see the screen because it's coming right down the middle of it. But I think having them in one place makes it a lot easier to pay attention to the messages that you need to pay attention to without having to peripherally monitor all these particular points of the screen for them. So that says it's coming out in September. Like I say, I've seen it, so that's fine. The other one that I will mention, just because I find this so third grade, and I still do not know what the use case for it is, but you're now going to, in Together mode, be able to assign seats to participants. So you can make sure Sally sits next to Johnny and Bobby doesn't sit next to Joey because those two aren't talking. Yeah, okay, whatever. Instead of them just randomly peering up, you can sit there and make your whole hierarchy of who's going to show up and who's going to be sitting next to whom. So yeah, look for that soon.
Well, think about it if you're using Teams for a court session, or if you're using Teams for something along those lines, there may be a reason.
Okay.
That way.
Okay, set the judge up at the top and everybody else down below. Okay. That one I can take.
But they have been. I mean, they have been doing it for virtual court sessions. And so for something like that, if it's getting recorded, you might want to set up people in a certain way. Or if you're using like a city council meeting or something like that, where they've only got some people on camera, you may want to set people in a certain way versus roles. So those could be scenarios where I could see you really needing to do it because you want the people who are watching to know who the people are, versus it's not about necessarily kind of what you're saying, which I understand, because in our scenarios we may not get it, but I could see where the audience may need to see it that way. So
some
those
visual
are
clues there. Okay.
Yeah, I could see it that way. Those would be two scenarios where I could see it maybe mattering, because if I was going to court, I might not want to sit next to, even in a virtual setting, someone. So it could be something like that potentially. Okay. But those could be scenarios. Not that I mean to break away from your fun, but
no.
Scenarios
this isn't on the level of golden folders, but hey, whatever.
You're like, whoa, I could actually see a reason for that. Now I got you, Tom. Now we have a reason.
So that's all that I had.
I did have one more thing that made me excited.
Yes.
And that's SharePoint. Configure navigation links to open in a new tab.
Yes.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes.
I am excited about that because Microsoft is bringing the capability, or with this update, you'll be able to manage the experience for each navigation item. So it's not like, open all in a new tab. So it's just each individual item that you get to control. And that's rolling out to everybody, GCC, GCC High, DOD, worldwide. And then the Office app and OneNote dictation in DOD. So that's if you actually have a microphone on your government furnished piece of equipment, then you'll be able to use this fabulous new feature.
Yep. So a couple of, well, there's one that I really like because it shows a direction of where Microsoft is going, and I cannot be happier. Microsoft Teams chat embedded within Dynamics 365. So Microsoft Teams chat can be accessed directly from Dynamics 365, allowing users to continue existing chats or create new individual group chats. The reason why I love this is that my team uses Teams, SharePoint, and Dynamics for all different things, because we have a customer management system where we manage all of our customers. And it's very important that we do our customer management there, because there's so much linking and so much integration that it does not make sense to put that in a bunch of SharePoint lists. That would be impossible to manage. That's why we have CRM. You need something like CRM to manage that and do all of that and keep all the connections. So that's the right tool for that. But we have a ton of documents, and so that connects to SharePoint. The connection isn't amazing yet. I know it's going to get there, and it's using SharePoint. Now we just need Dynamics to recognize the entire SharePoint front end, right? Like, it's getting there. So when I see things like this, I'm like, all right, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting these integrations. More integrations are coming, because this shows me that, okay, now I can be there uploading a document. Maybe I can have a chat. And I want to get to the point where I don't know what tool I'm using. I'm just using the right tool for the right task at the right time in any spot. And so that's what I want to be able to do. And so I'm super, super excited about that one. So more is going to come. It's great. So excited. So that was what I was excited about. There is another one for DoD too. Microsoft Defender for Office 365, redirecting users to Microsoft 365 Defender for GCC, GCC High, and DoD. So we will begin automatically directing users in government cloud environments accessing the security-related capabilities. So E5, Office, well, it would be G5, Office 365 Security and Compliance Center to Microsoft 365 Defender. So this is going to be for your threat management, alerts, threat management dashboard and reports, item in 365 Security and Compliance Center. You're going to get related or redirected there. So that's rolling out too. So yeah.
Great.
Anything else in?
Nope.
I'm good.
Cool. Well, who wants to talk about launching? What has launched that we like?
Well, I'll go ahead and toss. Well, I will defer to my wife. Go ahead.
Tamara just jumped. She literally jumped. So she is going to take us into launching. She might have launched from her chair when I did that. So she gets to go.
I can get clues. I don't want to step in front of her if she launches from her chair.
No,
we are so excited about this. It's Microsoft Teams manage meeting options for DoD. So now what everybody else has had, DoD has, so we can control who comes into a meeting without having to be let in from the lobby. We can control who can be a presenter. It's really added that flexibility to really manage your own meetings, and especially in the DoD, where you might want to block everybody in the lobby. So you know exactly who is in the meeting because you're discussing sensitive information. So I am really excited about that. I think that's great. Awesome. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention was about forms, and that's they're enabling templates for commercial users. So Microsoft Forms will not only surface the portal page in the Office Hub, but they'll also reroute partial traffic to forms.office.com and forms.microsoft.com. And then the user will be able to find collection on the portal page with some other minor improvements. All form users could easily find and explore high-quality first-party templates on portal page through different business categories like build better events and grow product services, improve employee satisfaction, digitize business process, and create engaging learning environments for EDU. Sorry, it got very, very markety there at the end. But the fact that there are going to be templates that you can start off with, I think that's really going to be great for those people who suffer from, oh my God, it's a blank page.
And not only
And-
that, the first
yeah.
time you do it, so the one right under it, the first time you
Yeah.
do it, they're gonna take you through a little their what they call the first run experience and kind of guide you through and tell you how to use it, which is even better. Like kind of I like it when they do that, when they roll something new and they walk you through it so you at least know it's new. So
Yeah.
that's kind of cool. Very cool. I like it. All right, Tom, I'll let you go next. But you got
Oh,
to
Tom,
unmute
we can't
yourself.
hear you. Yeah. We still can't hear you.
Ah, there you go.
There I go. Okay, so she took my thunder on forms.
Sorry, man.
Not you, no, you're not.
Maybe
So
a little bit.
Microsoft Search, natural language search support in Microsoft Search. So you're going to see more natural language search in Microsoft Search, which enables support for common search patterns when searching for content such as files, people, calendar, events, meetings, messages, and emails. That is worldwide, should have been out in July, so you should be seeing it by now. We also have a couple of Microsoft Teams things that I just want to bring up. View together mode for everyone in GCC High and DoD. So meeting organizers and presenters will be able to start together mode in the meeting for all the participants instead of just everybody doing it one by one. You're also going to have Microsoft Teams mute and unmute status icons for team rooms on Windows. So if you're sitting in a conference room and you're wanting to mute things, it's now going to be a lot easier to make people aware of the mute state of the room because there's going to be a mute icon added to the room video in the front of the room display. They're also doing one which I don't necessarily understand because I'm not a frontline worker, but they're doing Microsoft Teams, deploy teams at scale for frontline workers. So this enables your admins to deploy up to 500 teams and add 25 users per team using one team's PowerShell commands and 2 CSV files. This allows the admins to meet their organizational scale needs and significantly reduces deployment times. Admins can also use this solution to add and remove members from existing teams at scale. So instead of you going, oh great, they need a new team for frontline and I need to deploy 500 of these and add 25 people one at a time, you can now basically queue all that stuff up into spreadsheets and CSV files and let your PowerShell do that for you automatically. So that'll be really good for people in that particular environment.
Microsoft Teams native Apple Silicon support, Silicon support for just a universal binary Teams version. So that means it's going to run natively on both Intel and Apple based Mac devices. So for the Mac folks out there, that's going to be good news. And then let's see, the admin center, speaking for Adam, we've got the addition of the shared mailboxes to the mailbox usage report that was coming out, and then improved error messages if you delete a content type that is launched. I think we've talked about that one a few times. And then time trends for adoption score, people's experiences. So time trends and the productivity score helps IT admins understand information about people experiences. So it's gonna extends organizational trend data from 28 days up to 180 days across content collaborations, meeting, teamwork, mobility, and communication insight categories with people experience. But it has to be enabled by the global administrator to be accessed. So I think it's going to look at just where people are spending their time across all of those things, so people then can look at productivity. So it has to get enabled, and then people can start looking at it. So that's a new feature that's launched there for the adoption score.
I did want to go back to the content type deletion
Mm-hmm.
because the error message you used to get was, you can't delete this content type because it's in use. Period. That was all you got. And now you actually get a list of the dependent resources. So I think that's great. I love it when Microsoft like gives you an error message that actually gives you a clue.
It's so funny. You can tell that you have been burdened by this old error message. And then it has wronged you, Tamara. Like you can tell by the
wrong
excitement in it, because I can feel the pain. And I also have been wronged by that error message, because you're like, well, that is the most unhelpful thing I've ever seen.
Yes.
And then you sit there and you can spend the next hour trying to find it. Sometimes
Easy.
2 hours. Yes.
Easy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The kids don't know how easy they have it now.
Get off my lawn now.
Oh, you make me so happy.
They just don't know. They
Get
just
off my
don't know.
content type hub.
They don't know. Building their apps with no code, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy. News anywhere. I mean, Tom, what is this? What is this? Back in our day. I mean,
back in our days, we had to use semicolons, darn it.
Back in your day, you had to use notes.
Yeah, back in my day, I can go back to punch cards. So let's move on to the canceled area now.
Back in my day, phones were attached to the wall.
Not my hip.
Oh, goodness. All right.
All right,
Well,
what's in canceled?
Moving on to canceled. Whiteboard, migrating previously created boards, is being postponed indefinitely. So that one is postponed. And then the Purview Insider Risk Noisy Signal Management File Path Exclusion. This one says it's being postponed indefinitely and will be announced once the timing is determined. But it was in public preview. So this might be another one where they had it in public preview, then it's being postponed. So we don't know. Maybe it was they were collecting data like we talked about last week. So
right.
We kind of don't know about that. And then the other one was the noisy signal management for site URL and keyword exclusions. We're not going on excursions. This is not a cruise ship. Although we could do that. The roadmap update cruise. But we've got the compliance center keyword exclusions that was in public preview, and now GA is postponed indefinitely. I'm guessing that as they do some of these things, it's just like everything else they've done. Some of these things that they do, they either find that the data they pull back, they can't give it to us the way they pulled it back, or they can't give it to us efficiently, so they pull it back a different way, find a better way to do it. There's a lot of things that they pull out when they're doing these things, and that's just the nature of, we've seen it now happen, 5 years over and over again. Just because these things land and canceled doesn't mean they're gone. It means most likely they're going to do it differently. And we'll see something about it later. So all of these things are good things. We'll just see them done differently is most likely what's going to happen there. So just follow up for later announcements on these. So
sounds good.
That is all we have today. So we will be back next week. Actually, I will not be back next week. I'm going to be at the Power Platform conference next week in Orlando. So I will be out next week, but Tom and Tamara should be here next week, I think.
Yay for us.
And maybe
Adam on it.
Adam's been super busy lately, so I miss him, but hopefully Adam will be with us next week.
Yeah.
And then I'll be back the following week. So thanks, everybody. We will
Awesome.
see you soon.
Bye now.